This is Python's Paradise. This is your host, Greg Gilbert, aka the Python Hyena, straight out of Fredericton, New Brunswick, Canada, here on December 30th, 2021. Yes, only one day to go. Will 2022 rid us of the pandemic? I hope so. I hope so. But we're on some great things tonight. I have a return guest. I have Mr. Christmas Evil himself, although I think he's a great guy. Folks, I give you an author, an actor, an all around wonderful human being, Brandon Maggart. How do you do, Brandon?
All right, Greg, I'm doing great here. I'm in Southern California. You're way up like 5 hours away.
4 hours. I'm 4 hours
4 hours.
ahead of you. Yeah, I'm in Atlantic Canada, so I'm in that little niche, and we got snow on the ground here. It's perfect Christmas Evil weather.
Well, we got heavy rain here on this coast, except in the high mountains there. It's like 20 feet of snowpack in the high mountains, but rain down here along the coastline.
Yeah, I saw a post from one of my other guests was welcoming the rain in California.
Yeah, we need it always. Got to get through the wind. We're a desert here, and so we have to get enough rain during the rainy season, which lasts about 20 minutes, to get the water level back up to last. Snowpack is what feeds us, coming down the Colorado River and so forth.
Yeah. Well, how was your Christmas?
Christmas was very quiet here. Usually, you probably know I have a large family, a lot of children and everything, but there were only I had two of my children and one granddaughter here. Very quiet. We told everybody because of the COVID, even friends, nobody said, don't come over. So we had a nice, quiet, my daughter made me some shepherd's pie, which I love.
Nice.
My daughter, she lives here with me, and she's a retired nurse, and she takes care of me. I'm 88 years old, so I need herding.
88? I could have
Yeah.
sworn you were 39.
If I could reach through here, I'd kiss you.
Hey, that's the only way I got through school, man. Told my teachers they were all 39.
Yeah, Jack Benny, right?
That's right. That's right. The one and only. Wow. Well, it's nice to have somebody staying with you. It's good company, Me, I just got my kitty here, and he took off out of sight because he knows I'll grab him and put him on here if I see him. But
yeah, we got a cat and a dog too. So
there you go. There you go. But yeah, how bad is the COVID in California right now? I heard it's gotten worse.
well, it's worse all over, but California has a large population, but per capita, it's worse in the southern states, and in one Midwestern state. I forget which one, South Dakota or one of them, but mostly in the South there are a lot of people that shy away from the vaccinations. I don't understand it.
I know people who are too. I almost did shy away from it because I work as a cleaner and I work the back shift. I'm rarely around people. But what had changed my mind is that I didn't get to travel last year due to the pandemic, and I like to do the conventions, the horror conventions, and I always go to Toronto every year except for 2020, and I always connect with Lisa Langlois from the movie class of 1984 because she introduced me to the cons, and I always connect with her when I go to Toronto. So I called her and I asked her, I said, are you up for meeting me if I'm go to Toronto? And she said yes. So I said, okay. That was when I got my vaccination because I was going to be around people, and I didn't want to cause an issue there. So I didn't have any side effects from it. In fact, the second vaccine I got was the same day I had to get a new car because my car had stalled several times, and the straw that broke the camel's back was on a busy street.
Yeah, I know the feeling. I know the feeling well. Yeah. Yeah. No, we've all in my family, all of it in the West Coast and in the East Coast. Most everybody that has some sanity and pays attention to science has had their 3 shots. And even now, some of them end up in the hospital, but it would be, it's so much easier, as it turns out, to get through it, even before it, without going to the hospital. But if we hadn't had those people that hadn't had their shots, they could have been, 6 feet under now. Who knows?
I've got 2 shots. I haven't had a third. I don't know if it's mandatory, but
well, in Canada it may be different. I don't know. It's not mandatory here, but it's recommended a booster shot. The 2 shots and then the booster shot here. So it really, especially with the new strain, the new one, and that it helps, because that's the big thing that's flourishing right now, is this new. It's more contagious, but it's not as strong, and it's having the shots will keep you out. The ones they say that most people in the hospital now are the people who haven't had shots. The unvaccinated is the big thing now.
well, I've had my 2 shots. I got my flu shot, but I get that every year anyway. But I've been told right now for boosters, I've been told it's mostly for people like older people and people like that. And so until I'm told I absolutely do need it, and I suppose my workplace will tell me that, but then right now I feel fine, but I know people that kind of knocked them out for a few days, and I was like, I I worked through it. I haven't missed any work, so
well, I had all 3, and I never felt I had any symptom at all. From I'm an old guy too, but my daughter did have a little trouble with her second, but not the first or the third. But she's good. It's certainly worth it. If if all of a sudden you come down with it, you say, "Geez, I wish I'd had that 3rd shot."
well, I know right now, especially with a lot of jobs, like I had to have my 2 vaccines just to keep the job I have, and I have it, and I was able to provide that. And even when I went to Toronto, I got my vaccination papers laminated, so so I'm able to show that. So yeah, but look what I got with me, the Blu-ray.
The Blu-ray,
Yeah, John
It's
Waters
amazing
doing a
that thing.
commentary and everything. Huh?
Amazing how that thing sticks around, isn't it?
Yep, yep. I gotta say this though. I'm so happy that I was able to connect you with Blood Opera. In fact, I got this is their band symbol, Blood Opera, and a little thing you can put your drinks in. But I met them in 2017 when I did my first con. Lisa Langwa invited me, and they had a vendor at that con, and very friendly guys. And they gave me their card and whatnot. And the following year, I went to Horrorama again, and they remembered me, which I was surprised. And myself and Lisa and Blood Opera, we went to down the street and had some poutine and nachos and just got to know each other a little bit. And then in 2019,
So you guys are not really vampires.
no, these guys are totally awesome. In fact, I'll explain why they are the way they are. It's all theatrics, of course, but I remember when we did Horrorama 2019, and that was run by Chris Alexander, who was once an editor for Fangoria magazine. The after party for it was a couple of screenings of Demons 1 and Demons 2, because Lamberto Bava was the guest of honor for it. And there was a snowstorm, and Blood Opera was performing before the screenings. And because of the storm, a lot of people did not show. And Lisa and I went, and we were sitting down there, and Chris Cooper, the guy that you was talking to on there, that about walking this and that, and the 3-foot dong or whatever you could describe. He came down. I thought that was so cool. He came down to Lisa and I in our seats, and he said, "Thank you so much for showing up." He said, "You didn't even have to do that with the way the weather is, but I'm so appreciate you guys showing up." That right there is the true spirit of Blood Opera.
Well, he's a very personable guy, which goes against what he appears with, in his Max Explosion.
Max Explosion, yeah. I love those guys. They've been on my show twice, and these streams that I recommended you to, what that came about there, it was when the pandemic hit. They refused to perform in public places. And I often said, Chris Jericho, the wrestler, has a band called Fozzy, and they had performed in public places, and Jim Cornette had nicknamed him Chris Jerichovid. But Jim Cornette said that's very reckless, but the Blood Opera folks took it very seriously. So what they decided to do, because everybody in the band are close friends, so they got dressed up in their costumes, and they got their lighting and theatrics, and they were able to do this without a crowd around and still be able to entertain people. And that was their whole thing. And I know they did a couple of streams, and then Chris had approached me and he says, "We're doing a Black Christmas theme one." Said, "Do you know anybody from the movie?" And I said, "Yeah, Lynn Griffin lives right there in Toronto." So I connected them with Lynn Griffin, and she was more than happy to do it. She even come on there with a little bag over her face and everything. And they did another one on prom night, and they had Bruce Pittman from the second one on there, the director of the second one, and I connected them with Paul Lynch, the director of the original, because Paul Lynch has been on here 3 times, and he even shot a movie up here, and so Paul's always been great to me. And I connected, and Chris told me on the phone, he says that he was in an Arby's drive-through when he got that call from Paul Lynch, and he said the big connection was Paul and Chris went to the same school, except decades apart. So they hit it off really well, and Paul Lynch even thanked me for connecting him. And when I connected him with you, he thanked me, and he says, "I was in a grocery store get my groceries when you called." And he said he was just flabbergasted, like, "Wow, it's Brendan Maggart." So he was very, very appreciative of me to set this up. And I said anytime. Yeah, and the reason they're dressed up like that, they wanted to do a band. They write their own stuff, but they also do a lot of horror film themed songs as well. Like they performed "The Man Behind the Mask" by Alice Cooper from Friday the 13th Part 6, Jason Lives, and stuff like that. And but George Romero endorsed them, the director of Night of the Living Dead, because they pitched it to him at one of the cons, because they go at all the cons, and they thought that George Romero was just going to laugh at them. And George said, "No, you got to do it." He said, "You got to do it, and yeah, do all the theatrics." So they put on a really good show. Blood Opera does, but they show a lot of gratitude. They gave me a free T-shirt when I was in Toronto last. They didn't.
Oh my God! How could you stand it? I mean, a free T-shirt.
Yeah.
Oh. Yeah.
Yep. And then Lisa and I met them at a diner the next day. Chris and Esther met us at the Electric Diner, which I'd never been to before. Very pop culture oriented, and yeah, I love those guys, and I'm glad that worked out for you. And And yeah, they have to meet them in person. You see them on screen and they're, but they are great guys. If you ever got the chance to meet them in person, you'd be like, are they the same?
Doesn't he have a company or work for a company that makes those costumes?
Yep. Yep.
So,
He does. He's a makeup artist. Yep. All of them in that band have other jobs because obviously they don't make money with Blood Opera. They get other jobs. Um, they're getting the
I'm familiar with show business. I know that. I know that route.
Yeah, yeah. But yeah, he's a makeup artist. Yep. But I'm still in talks with him. In fact, he sent me a text last night. In fact, your name even came up because I had okay, this is what he said, he says that he says let me see. Well, he mentions that the COVID situation there right now is 10,000 people. It's yeah, ridiculous. But he says,
And that's Toronto, right?
yeah, Ontario, Toronto. He says, I'm glad you're having Brandon back on because he was incredible, and I am so thankful to you for introducing me and him and doing our interview. So there you go. And yeah, he spent Christmas.
Did you have a chance to see his show?
Yeah.
When I was on?
Yeah, I did. I did watch it. Yep.
That was bizarre.
They are larger. I got pictures with them whenever I was in Toronto last, and yeah, they truly are bizarre. But I'll tell you, very like a lot. Like again, those are theatrics. When they get the costumes off and whatnot, very very polite guys. They're very much into the horror scene, and I would not have connected you if I didn't think it was a good fit. So I'm glad you done it, and
well, we had fun. My
yeah.
daughter has to set me up for these. I do quite a few podcasts and Zoom things, and for other reasons, my career, especially in my books and so forth. But every time Dad, another one, she has to set me up, make sure I push all the right buttons and everything.
Yep. Well, I may have another one I can connect you with too. The podcast is called Slasher Scotty, and the guy's name is Scotty McCoy. He's been on my show 6 times, and I've been on his twice, and he is a really cool guy as well. And I told him about you last night when I was talking to him. So he's getting into films and stuff like that. And I was surprised to hear that he said he got into doing podcast interviews because of me, and I've never heard that before. But I'll connect you with him.
But it's nice though that you have the Zoom. It's as opposed to just the radio or the air without the picture, of course.
What happened?
Yeah, I get to know you now, really.
Yeah. Well, you know what?
Films and everything, but now we have a personal relationship.
Well, I was doing them at the station before, and I'd done about 30 interviews in 2020, and then the station went into lockdown, and I was in a panic because I had about 30 people waiting to come on the show and one of them I was trying to schedule was Nancy Allen, and I was like, oh, I did not want to lose that. And I went the rest of the year, and I'd call the station like practically every week. Call the program director, when are we coming back? When are we coming back? I kept working. I'm a cleaner. I'm an essential worker, but I was missing.
You're a cleaner?
I do I do janitorial work.
Yeah, that's a good thing.
Yep. So
some of the best guys started out doing that.
Yep. That's what I do for money. I do this because I just really enjoy it.
I can tell.
But I worked all through it, but I missed doing this. And it was Nancy McLaughlin from Friday the 13th, Part 6, Jason Lives, who had told me, she said, if she can do Zoom, I can do Zoom. So I got my younger brother to hook this up for me. And as of tonight, I should have 144 interviews this year, and that's my record.
Wow. How many of them on Zoom?
144.
Wow. That's well, congratulations.
I got one coming later tonight after I'm done with you. So it's my record was in 2017, 128. But what I like about this is I don't have to call the station to see if Studio B is available for me because there's other programmers there. This I could just be in my apartment and I don't have any distractions. I can just
Now, how do you hook up? How do you get your audience?
oh, I got a YouTube channel. I put my stuff on there, and of course I've got the other social medias and whatnot. So
what kind of audience do you think you have? 2, 10, or 1,000?
I have no idea. I have no idea. In fact,
you know what, it sounds like I got 4.
Yeah. Well, you know something? I get asked that, my audience, and I never know what to say because I do my live show at the station Friday nights, and I'll basically stick my flash drive in and play an interview. And occasionally I'll do an introductory. This is an interview I did at such and such a date, you know, and enjoy whatnot. But I don't know how many, because station people could be listening in all over. I don't know what my audience is like. I know that I got people listening. I do know. I mean, this is being recorded now, so nobody's listening in right now. But
you get bound to get some feedback and say, "Oh, I like your show." Or
oh, I do.
Well, that's it.
I do. Yes, I do. That is true. Yep. I get a lot of people from Facebook that listen in, and when I post them on various groups and wherever I post them. So yeah, it's been interesting, but I do want to express my gratitude to you for connecting me with Nancy Allen, because last August I made it happen. I had her on.
Yeah, yep. She's a good girl.
Yep, I had her on the Zoom, and she still looks great. And we celebrated Dress to Kill, and Carrie and all the. I brought you up. We talked about your scene with her, and I said to her, I said, Brendan said that there was a scene cut where you guys just basically just talked, and she said, yeah, she confirmed that. She said, yep, it wasn't what people thought.
Right.
But yeah, I love her in Dress to Kill. I know a lot of people might think Carrie or RoboCop, but for me, I think Dress to Kill when I think Nancy Allen. So I loved her in that movie. So we talked about that, and but I do want to express my gratitude. I appreciate you connecting me with her, and I made a donation to We Spark Cancer Charity, which she's an executive on, and she was very happy with that. So kind of my way of giving back. Yeah.
You go to all the Comic-Con stuff, right? You know, a lot of them.
I've done 3 Horror-Ramas in Toronto. I did 1 Toronto Comic-Con, and last year, well, actually I should say this year, it just feels like last year. This past October, I did my first Frightmare in the Falls, Niagara Falls. And because Horror-Rama didn't have wasn't open for it yet. So Lisa had suggested Frightmare in the Falls. So I went to that and did one of those for the first time. And that was fun. I haven't done any in the States. I don't have a passport yet. Right now, the way things are going, I don't know when I'll go to the States. I keep hearing that.
Now, Greg, let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
Now, I told Chris too, I'm not a horror fan.
Mm-hmm.
I don't understand it, but it's bound to work for some people. A lot of people are big fans of horror movies. I do not get it. I do not understand it. In the film I did, I liked it because it wasn't a horror film. I didn't think it was a psychological thing of this kid being told one thing and turned out he's being lied to, and he's trying to stick to his what he thought that was the truth of things. Like there is a God, there's a Santa Claus, there's an Easter Bunny. They tell him there's not, and he gets pissed off. He doesn't know he's not. He's challenged anyway when he's mentally and emotionally, and so he's vulnerable. And then everything around him falls apart. So he acts out, and he said, even when he says to the little children, said, "Why don't to the grown-ups? What when he's out in they corner him? You know, when the little kids come up to his defense." You know, he said, he doesn't understand. He said, they understand, the children understand. Why don't you understand? Nobody believes me. So that's what attracted me to it. Of course, there's a lot of that, you know, always has been, and there always will be, I guess. People are fed things, and it's like, so I don't know how it is in Canada now, but I feel like Canada. I've played Canada several times and done shows there. My son had a TV show called the Sentinel that shot out on the West Coast for 5 years. He did a star of one of the 3 stars of that show, and I've been through there in musicals and all that stuff. And I spent a wonderful summer up in the Laurentian Highway to a place called Lac Briere, a small place. I was doing Hills of Pop in 1968. That's before you were born, right?
So 4 years prior. I was born in 72.
Shut up. Anyway, I love Canada, and I love everything I hear from Canadian writers, some wonderful Canadian writers and everything. And I feel close, but I'm afraid I feel better about Canada. I'm afraid my country is about to disintegrate. And it's like what I say about telling a children a certain thing, that, oh, there's a Santa Claus, there's an Easter Bunny, there's a God, there's everything. It's now, a few years ago, Trump comes along, and they're looking for something. So here comes a guy, stands up with a loud mouth and makes a big, he can stand up in front of a lot of people and spout off things. And he himself and all these people say, it doesn't have to be true. You can tell a lie, but you can, as long as you keep telling it, and the bigger lie, the better. And that's the same thing that Goebbels talked about Hitler during the Nazis, in the 30s. You don't tell the people, you know, that blah, blah, blah. And they say, well, it's not true. They say, yes, it is. But the scientists say here that, you know, the COVID is the bad thing. Yeah, it's not a bad thing. You know, it's amazing what, and he has hijacked the Christian, large part of the Christian church. He hijacked it, and he holds up the Bible. He has no idea what's in that Bible, has no idea whatsoever. But he said, oh, so there's poor people there who will give all their money to certain TV ministers so they can get a better jet and a better mansion. Oh, yeah, he's some of them actually think he's the new savior. It is so incredibly hard to fathom, hard to believe that something like that in this day and age. I think Margaret Atwood, your famous, wonderful writer, Margaret Atwood, saw that kind of stuff coming. The Handmaid's Tale, you know, and I don't know if you're a fan of Margaret Atwood or not, but she's a wonderful writer. And anyway, I spout on and on, don't I?
You know, it's interesting you say that, because I am Christian. And I do read from my Bible and I believe in God, but I don't go to church anymore because it's just become too much about money. But I'm going to tell you this. I right now, it's interesting you brought Trump up because I have dealt with depression in my past, and I've beaten it 2 or 3 times. And I'm right now kind of coaching alongside an actress who's struggling with depression right now.
Good for you.
Yep. And she called me just after Christmas and she just needed to talk, you know, because she lost somebody close to her and she's struggling to move on. And so I remember because growing up in the church, I love the term prayer warrior, where you pray for people. One of the things that helped me with depression is I'd have people that I trusted in the church would pray for me. I needed it because it says in the Bible, when two or more come together in thy name, you know, and it helps to pray for people. And I remember I told her, I said, I'm going to pray for you. And she said to me, says, you're not just saying that, are you? Do you really mean that? And I know exactly what she was referring to. How many times have we heard Trump say thoughts and prayers after a school shooting or what have you? And it just goes over people's head. And that was not who Jesus was, but they're taking what Jesus teaches and they're using it for their own benefits. So when I told her,
they don't even take what he teaches. They take the Bible that he's supposed to be the center post of the Bible, being so-called Son of God. Anyway, I won't go into all that, but he, as I say, he just hijacked this a bunch of vulnerable people.
Yep.
And now even his son made a speech the other night saying, this Christianity hasn't worked for us. He said, we got to get out and do what has to be done. So now, will that make people wake up to see really what they're about? I don't know. It's like nothing I've ever, people, it's incredible how frightening it is.
Well, of course, Christianity didn't work out for them. God's not going to aid them in that, what they were doing. They were looking for financial gain, not spiritual gain.
Well, I'm going to cut to the chase, and then we'll change the subject.
Yeah.
So I was raised in a Methodist Episcopal church in a small town, and I'm still in touch with the pastor there. But thank goodness, this woman now, they finally let women be pastors, and she's a part of Native American heritage, and she's brought between a rock and a hard place because half of her congregation believes kind of like Trump. The other part is half is liberal, as am I, and believing in what Jesus taught. I can take the Bible because it's been written by so many different people over the ages, whatever. But all you need to know is what Jesus taught was to love thy neighbor. You don't need it, you can take all the rest of it if you want to, but that's the center post to take that. And I struggled with it all my life too. But in the last few years, I've come up with the reason I don't even pray for people anymore. I don't ask for anything for people anymore, for myself or the people or anything. But here's what I do. It's for me. Every morning and every night, I say out loud, thank you. Now, who's listening? Is it a guy on the cloud up there? And his son who sent to save the world, and the son is out in the back feeding the goats, and they're on a cloud or something? Or is it an idea of creation? I don't know. So I'm a human being in this small the tiniest spot in the universe, less than a grain of, I mean, all I can say is thank you. I don't ask. I say thank you and take with what I've got, my brain, my mind, my sense of right and wrong, my goodwill, and my love for people. So that's me. Anyway, now
I always tell people, if people are skeptical about giving money to the church, I say, give money to a charity.
and you have to be careful about that.
Yeah, I've been discovering that. Yes. Yep.
You can see somebody on the street corner. You don't know if you're going to buy another bottle of booze, or somebody, a friend you can help, or talk to a friend like you're talking to the woman you're talking to.
Yeah.
That is a charity too, but it comes back to you. When you give, you receive. It's almost like a scientific thing. So trust yourself.
Mm-hmm.
You weigh everything, and I can tell you do. But back to the thing, I still don't understand horror movies.
You want me to tell you something? When I went to that first con in 2017, the one I met Blood Opera at, it was an amazing feeling because I was in amongst all these horror fans, and I felt included despite the fact I didn't know any of them. Everybody was like accepting of everybody, I never got that. And I thought Comic-Con was great, don't get me wrong, but the horror cons are a whole different thing. It's almost like it's a lot more personable, I find. And like I remember I had a Clockwork Orange t-shirt on the first year I went, and this woman dressed as a demented clown came up to me and she goes, I like your shirt. And I said, thank you. And she rolls her sleeve up, and there was the Clockwork Orange poster tattooed on her arm.
But I mean, okay, we're getting close to something here.
Yeah.
You feel a community. So what brings this community together?
I don't think it's so much.
Is it, I'm sorry, I jumped on you there, but is it okay, when you're little, you like it, some people say boo, and you didn't really scare me. You just said boo, and I jumped, and I got an adrenaline kick out of that. It brings me out of whatever a whole home I'm living or whatever. Oh, I got a thing out of that. And he said, oh, you didn't really scare me, did you? You just mean to say boo kind of thing. And you tell a ghost story, and all the kids gather on this, and then he reached his hand in there and he grabbed it out, and it was a liver. And, and it would go, ooh, and it said, well, that didn't really happen. I know, but it scared me. So I guess it's that kind of thing. It's not people who are think that murder is something, it's the thing to do. It's just, I think it's just the thing of sharing, being scared by something happening on the screen and the bad things happening. And then when you go home and you're safe, you have your ice cream and you sit there and you be safe. And it's like this. And then you can even watch the movies and you talk about these old things that happen or whatever, but you're safe. You're not really the evil part. You're kind of apart from it, but you like being scared by it. It's the only thing I can come up with.
There's another level too. Let's go back to Mr. Max Explosion. He's into doing makeup effects and masks and stuff like that. Like a lot of people, they admire the work of people like your Rob Bottin, your Rick Baker, and your Tom Savini's, and who do all these effects work. A lot of people get introduced to that, even way back in the day, like with the Dracula and Frankenstein, which were also about makeup. I think there's a whole level of creativity there too that people connect with.
Oh yeah, speak of Dracula, I remember. I'm a reader. I've read so many books. I'm a writer, as you probably know. Too.
Yep.
But Dracula scared the bejesus out of me. But I can remember reading it and him crawling up inside the chimney, whatever castle crawling up through there. And every time I think about it now, I don't get an adrenaline rush. I get a chill, scary kind of thing.
Yeah.
So I have a different reaction to that kind of thing than some people, I think. I don't know.
Sometimes too, it's nice to like when I watch a movie, I'll be in my bed and I've got my TV so I can just watch, you know, and sometimes it's nice to be in under the covers, you know, and you're safe from whatever's in front of you, you know, and it's just it's fun, you know. It's
And kids, I tell you one thing, I at least when in a small town in Tennessee, and I'm sure we don't know other places too, high school kids are the worst, especially high
yeah.
school boys. And there was a thing going around, even in college. I'll take one story specifically. They took a young boy out, like a freshman, some of the upperclassmen took him out to get him laid. You know, it said, "Oh, this girl, she lives back up in this holler, and she lives up there, and she's beautiful. But we're going to take you up there, and you can have your first sex if you go." And so he's scared to death, and they take him up, and they lead him up to this house, and they lead him up to the house, and all of a sudden the door blows open from the house, and this guy steps out with a shotgun. You came here to see my daughter, and bam, shoots like this. And these guys start running, and they run away. And the one that they bring up there didn't know, oh my God, he's scared to death. But he's not in on it, but they're all in on it. So it's all said, it's not really a guy, it's one of them with a shotgun, and there's no girl and all thing. But to scare a guy, one guy, it scared him so bad he jumped a fence, ran through a cornfield, and ran through a creek that was 9 feet deep and didn't get wet above the knee. That's scary stuff they pull it. So it takes a different, you probably understand it more than I do. I don't know.
I know one thing though, I can certainly relate to your character in Christmas Evil based on one line he says. I know the tune. I know the tune you guys play. I have an issue with trends, you know, because when I was in school, all that many years ago, I was not popular. In fact, I was probably the least popular kid in my class. I was what didn't trend, you know.
You sound like so many people I know who turned to be great artists or great people and
Yep.
scientists, whatever. Anyway, I'm sorry I interrupted you.
Oh, no, I see what you're saying. And so this guy is trying to get a point across. You see it when he's talking to his coworkers, you know, he's like, nobody wants, like, he doesn't just want to make toys. He wants the kids to have an experience of getting that toy, you know? And these people, and I gotta say, for the most part, when I see these toys come across the conveyor belt, it's like, these are so cheap, like the soldiers, you know, do you put the little thing in their hand, but are they articulate, or, you know, it's like, what do you do, you know?
Such a craftsman he is in his toy shop, with making things and molding the soldiers and everything he did, and paints his truck, paints his wagon like that. So he's a craftsman. It makes him so angry that things aren't done the right way. And the tune is the right way to do things. And the people know the right way to do things, but they don't do it. They don't sing. In other words, the tune is a harmony, a vibration, a good vibration in the universe. That's with me, you can interpret it any way you want to. Essentially down deep inside of him, he knows the tune. And and everybody likes a good tune, especially with harmony. And the good tune and the harmony to stick through is his path. And they don't see it. And he knew it. And of course it was knocked out of his box when he saw, his Santa Claus eating his mother's cookies, thing. But Oh, that's it. Anyway, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah. And you know what the sad thing is too, when I watch this movie, is like his parents, of course, had no idea they were spotted. Because technically they're not really doing anything wrong, you know?
No,
Yeah, but this had a bad effect on this kid's life. And of course it didn't help that his brother, who was the one laughing on the staircase too, like um when
yeah,
yeah.
but
Um
yeah, he was the brother was the sharp kid, and the
mhm,
young brother was different. He was different.
yeah. So that had an effect. And it's another thing too, because Jeffrey DeMond was really good in this movie, and it's like he wasn't a bad guy either, you know? You know, he had a different path. I don't think he was anything like the coworkers who
Right.
the coworkers were not right, not in any not in any state of the
They
word,
were
but
like the high school people, kids I was talking about.
mhm,
Scaring this, dealing with the freshman who was my character.
yep. But I loved Jeffrey DeMunn and Diane Hull, who played his wife in this movie. They had a nice chemistry. I like the fact too that Diane had sympathy towards your character in the movie, you know, and like she just wanted some peace. And of course, DeMund is so he's dealt with this so much. It's like, what would it take? And when I watched it last night, and I'm sitting there thinking, what if, you know, um the name of your character is escaping me. Let me get his name up here.
Harry.
Harry. What if Harry had to just went to the Thanksgiving dinner, you know, and you know, and just maybe, you know, uh crack or smooth the ice over, you know, and who knows, maybe a better relationship with his brother might have been a
He was so transfixed by the Santa in the parade. He wasn't
yeah.
going.
Here's one thing that caught my attention though as I was watching the movie, and I don't think I
No,
asked you.
every year I do these interviews, and
Yeah.
I so amazing all the work I've done on TV and movies and mostly stage work. I'm in a stage
Uh-huh.
actor mostly. I'm going to be remembered by this little low budget film. It's so bizarre. I can't tell
Uh-huh.
you. Anyway, so go ahead.
Well, there's two scenes. They're to me they're similar but on opposite ends that I have to ask you about. And I don't think I asked you about this before, but they caught my attention last night when I was watching it. Early in the movie, that first scene when you see you on screen, you wake up, you know, and you get up and immediately you're doing your stretches and whatnot, and you're kind of like dancing around the apartment there. And then later on, when you find out that your coworker was kind of a jerk, and you rush home, you know, because you've been had by him, you know, and you go home and you're going around the apartment. You're not dancing here, but you're fretting around. You're stopping. You're fretting around. You get the little figurine doll, and you're humming the tune and the Christmas tune. You're going like this with it, and I think you snapped it or whatever. How much of that was improvised?
Especially that part. There were a few things in the movie that I extended what was on the page into making the point.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, that was that I did the tune myself and his frustration in building it to a certain point, and out of the thing crushing one of the things that he treasured, out of his anger and his frustration, he so tense that he broken that. And the other one was when he's shaving and he cuts himself and sees the blood.
Mm-hmm.
He's transfixed then, looking and sees himself with the red hat and looks like the beard, and he literally zooms in on, I'm not Harry. I'm the good guy. I've got all this. I'm going to do this. And he proceeds to go down that road.
Yeah, even when he's got the shaving cream on, he's doing the whole Santa thing, and like I know Lewis Jackson, of course, directed the film, but there's a lot of this. I'm wondering how much of this just came out of you right on the spot, and because
I will admit to extending and doing that. When I say it's me, that wasn't in the script. I'm me, I think I said. It's something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Wasn't in the script, but he went with me on all those things. But there weren't that many. I just because there wasn't that much dialogue in the film.
Mm-hmm.
Mostly action shots and I tell people, people say, what about him chasing the people with the torches? People didn't chase people with torches. I said, well, it's not realistic anyway, because in his mind, he was being chased. If he'd probably seen a movie with people
Frankenstein.
Chasing, with torches, and the people, they got torches, they're after me. It in his mind. We don't know if that happened. Just happened in his mind.
Mm-hmm.
So that was one of the things that really were having a job, even though it was low budget film, was one thing, but to insert yourself into the psychological aspects of a vulnerable character is kind of a dream.
Mm-hmm.
Too bad it was, it didn't come out as well as I thought it was going to come out, but for the money he had to put into it to make it with, which was not much, he came up with a lasting film. It'll be around for God knows how long, every year.
Yep. Second, I'm just putting my phone in flight. I just I made that mistake last night when I did an interview, and somebody called. I didn't put that in flight.
Wait a minute. Have you recorded this?
Yep, this is recording. This is fine.
You scared me with that phone thing there. Because I don't want to waste these pearls I'm throwing out.
Oh, no. My phone's sitting behind me. Yeah, I'm just recording this on my computer, but have my phone sitting behind me. I was like, oh yeah, I forgot to put that in airplane mode. But but no, I definitely heard what you said. But
you definitely recorded.
Oh yeah, it's recorded.
Video.
Yes, it's recorded.
So I can say and scare people.
Yep.
I'm not going to do that.
Have you been in touch with any of the cast since the movie?
No. Some of the I have very good friends Toomey. He's one of the guys in the crowd there. He's one of my favorite actors. Most of those actors are all wonderful New York actors. And when we mostly stage actors, and if a film comes or a TV thing, everybody jumps. Some of the people in the church thing a couple of them were famous soap opera stars. I don't know why they were in that. I have no idea. I can't remember her name right now. The beautiful girl that apparently I hit in the head with a hatchet, and
mm-hmm.
She was a soap opera star. I don't know what she was doing there. I don't know that I know. Yeah, but actually, and who else? Alda, what's her name? First name? Yeah, there's some of them I'm in touch with.
What about the child actors? Have you seen them since?
I have no idea who they are. I wonder once in a while when you're old and you work with little kids, you wonder what their life has been like growing up, what happened to them, and are they now a farmer somewhere or a doctor somewhere? Are they in Canada doing a podcast?
Well, Jeffrey DeMond, I know, went on to did,
Oh yeah,
Walking Dead. He was,
he's
yep,
still yeah.
yep, and did a lot of stuff like the Shawshank Redemption. I believe he was in that, and movies like that, and of course Patricia Richardson, who you see briefly with the snobby kid, the bratty
Yeah,
kid.
she really slapped that kid too. I said, "Holy mackerel! She really slapped that little kid." Method actress, I guess.
She was getting ready for Home Improvement.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, that's good people. Good people. Mm-hmm. Low budget film that will be around forever. I still have people every year send me pictures to autograph their pictures. Santa thing. Nobody sends me anything about any of the great plays I've done, the great roles, and everything else. Well, a few things, television stuff, mm-hmm. But nothing like this horror film, or which you know this film was never released. It didn't. It as far as I know, it never sold a ticket. It was just picked up, and people have, I don't know, stolen it, this, that, and put it out, and then Trauma picked it up, and then they put it around and whatever. As a matter of fact, I just spoke to Louis Jackson right before our talk. I hadn't spoken to him in years. I said, Louis, I said, I'm being interviewed again. I'm interviewed every year about this thing. Is there anything you want to say? And he didn't have much to say. He didn't. He said, "Oh, because John Waters." I said, believe me, these people know all that. They know how many people watch it every year. They know all about what John Waters said, what so-and-so said, what he said. They know more about it than you know about it. So I said, I'll talk to you later. Goodbye.
I should get, I have not had Louis Jackson on here. I've got to reach out and get him on here and talk about this. But
well, I can put you in touch if you like. But
yeah, please, yeah.
I put you. You know who Bill Whedon is? Bill Whedon's in about 10 horror movies now. I don't know what they are, but we've known each other for 50 years. But if you like, I can put you in touch. Plays an old character. He's got a crooked mouth and a long gray hair. He's in, I don't know. He said he's got 10 movies out now, and it's mostly these kind of movies he's in. So look him up, Bill Whedon, Weeden. Anyway, I can put you in touch with him. I imagine he would be glad to chat with you.
Oh, I recognize him too. Yeah. Yes, I would definitely have him on.
Oh, you punched him up right away, right?
Yeah, I recognize him too.
I'll put him in touch put you two in touch, and he's a good guy. He'll talk.
Oh wow, yeah, he's still working too.
Yeah, he's doing 1 or 2 films now. He's always working. Now I had to quit working years ago. You know, I had a bad back and had to have surgery, and I just can't walk around anymore. So that's when I started painting and writing. But he's still doing these movies, and people wanted me to come to some of these conventions, and I can't come. I'm an old guy. I don't go, you know. But I can talk up a storm.
Yeah.
I can write. I write every day. I got a new book coming out within a few months, and so I'm still cooking.
Wow. You know, yeah, put me in touch with them. I'll gladly have them on. I'll book them on here for next year. But yeah, yeah, it's too bad you don't get to do the conventions. I can see you probably getting a lineup.
I went to one. I made Miss Jackson because they came to LA. It was down the big center down there, Staples Center, which is just renamed, but big thing is big. I don't know what they call it, Comic-Con or some place was packed, jam-packed. This whole big thing. I did one of them, and I got freaked out. It was, I don't, you say, I don't know, some spooky people walking around there. Now, if you feel at home with all those people, you feel loved and all, I can understand your feeling, but I kind of freaked out. I kind of spooked.
You mean like Mr. Max Explosion?
No, I didn't see anybody that bad. Max is the worst I've ever seen. I didn't even realize I was watching it later, played back, and he sat there doing this huge fake dong hanging down.
He had that with him when I was.
Don't look, kids, don't watch.
He had that with him when I met him at Frightmare in the Falls, and I was like, away from me.
And said he's not at all like what he plays in the band. Said this nice, sweet guy.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. Like I said,
he told me to call this number when actually you referred to it before. Please get in touch with him. So I called the number. What? Hello, I'm in the grocery store. I can't believe I'm talking to Brandon.
Yeah. Oh, he's a great guy and has a lot of gratitude, and yeah, I look forward to seeing them when I go to Toronto, always look forward. In fact, when I went to Frightmare in the Falls, one of my highlights going was to see them again, because but I mean, I keep in touch. I got his number and I keep in touch with them. So
hey Greg, how long is this show going to go on?
As long as what do you need to step off?
Well, my daughter's over there. I think. Hello.
Yep. I can hear you.
Says, oh, good, because it says airdrop decline or accept. I should put accept, right?
If you want to, but I can still hear you.
You still hear me?
I can still hear you.
I can't see you, but I hear you. Okay. As long as you can see me.
Yeah.
Right.
I can't see you, but as long as we can hear each other, we're good.
Well, we better pick this up again next year or something.
Well, you know what? No, we are doing good, but I do want to ask, how are you doing with your writing? Like, what kind of book projects you got coming up? Because I know you're heavily into that.
Most of my stuff has been like memoirs, talking about show business and my philosophies and life and some about my children. I try to stay away from writing about my children so much. But can you see me now better? I don't know. My daughter told me. All right, we just talk. Anyway, so it's okay. I don't. She's trying to hook me.
But yeah, there you go. I can see you now.
Can you see me?
She took your hat.
Thank you, Jennifer. Yeah, I have the hat on because it blocks that sunshine thing coming in from the back pretty much.
Oh, I thought you were making a fashion statement.
Well, kind of, but now see, it's all thrown off too. I don't know what happened. Because the hat will block out, because the window behind me, the light comes through so strong, it's no good. So when it see? Plus, I kind of look good in the hat. You know what I mean?
There you go.
But thanks to Jennifer, she got us hooked up again. Yeah, the one I'm working on now is historical fiction. And it's set in the 1700s and begins in England. It's three young girls, especially the one young girl. Her name is Kate Malone, and she's raised by a father who's a drunk and fancies himself to be a poet and philosopher. I don't know where he gets that, but he's always in barroom brawls. He's a little Irish to him, you know. And the wife, the mother, disappears, I won't go into all that, but he sobers up and raises her. And when she's 16, he puts her on the ship to America. And she and two of her friends go through this horrendous voyage to America, going through everything you can think of. And it's essentially of coming of age and of coming to America from a bad time in England, from the waterfront on the Thames. And the ship goes out of there, and the storm drives them south, and it keeps further south. Then they go down to into the Canaries, and they run out of food and water. It's a long thing, and they find another thing. It's almost like Treasure Island. At one point, there's a place they come upon where there's, guess what, buried treasure. Okay. And they finally get to America just in time for the American Revolution. So there's three young girls, and they come to America to be to work as not as slaves, but as what do you call it? They sign up to be for 5 years to work to pay for their passage to America, as like essentially as servants or slaves. And she becomes, the young girl, my main character, Kate, becomes friends with an African-American girl. And she'd never been around a country that, at least she'd read about, where some people had other people enslaved, had slaves working for them. But this is the first time she ever was living in a place that people bought other people and they were slaves to them. So coming out of one thing in England to take the other thing to come into this thing, it's her evolution through all that process of sticking to her guns about what's right and what's wrong, and essentially what most of us think of doing the right thing. And it's historically, it's pretty much based on fact. I had to study all the currents of the ocean, the ships, the songs that were sung then, the books that were read then. There's a lot of, so that's the one that'll be out in a couple of months. I'm really looking forward to it. So that's it. It's called Kate's Crossing.
Okay.
It means crossing of the Atlantic, and also the crossing of a lifetime, of her lifetime.
How many books have you written?
This is the seventh.
The seventh, okay.
And I've painted over 100 pictures. They're all over the house. And I painted those, I told my acting career kind of stopped at a point because of physical thing. But I just saw on this morning, watch a guy, I'm so sorry, I can't remember his name, famous writer, that he lost his daughter in an auto accident, and about how he survived. And I went through the same kind of thing. And a lot of the stuff I would write is dealing of loss and what happens after that and how you survive it, how you get through it. And that's how I started painting all these paintings. So a humorous content, a bone about going through a horrendous time when I lost my daughter, and my Jennifer's sister, and survival, how to get through the things, what you think about, it's, I don't know if you have children, but
no.
Well, I had seven children and seven grandchildren, and so far I've lost the one, but it was every day it's still with me. But I deflected. I was doing a sitcom called Brothers. I don't know if I'm sure it's somewhere in Canada. I don't know. It's about mostly. It's the only series at the time where two of the characters were supposed to be gay, and I was the older brother. Found out my younger brother is gay, and his best friend is gay, and it was made to present. Came out especially during the time when the AIDS really hit, and the gay community really needed some laughter. And it came out at that time, which was, and laughter and tears. So I was going through that and the loss of I'm, of course, as you can tell, I'm straight, straightest guy you ever met. And some of my friends are gay and some of them are straight. And when you're in the theater and around you don't really notice the difference so much. Whether you're black, white, green, yellow, gay, straight, or whatever, it's just humanity. Now that's what, if you're thinking of God and what Jesus taught, that's what it is.
Mm-hmm.
And so I've been lucky enough to work in areas to espouse and write about every day. I'm right on Facebook every day about my feelings. And I have a lot of followers on my Facebook, several thousand. So where was I?
I know I'm straight because, I think when I see Nancy Allen, I know I'm straight. She's beautiful.
To me, there's no difference. I had two of my best friends. One was straight and one was gay. Both of them are genius. I thought one was a lyricist, and one was a comic and a lyricist, and we had some of the. And so there were two of us straight and one gay. With some great talks here. And my family came to love both of them very much.
I got friends who were gay, yeah.
Here at the house, and they loved my children too. And one of them had children, and I still in touch with his children. But both of my friends now are gone. That's are most of my friends. Is that Tom? 88? I just talked to one friend this past week who's 94. That's a woman I'd worked with many years ago. I hadn't spoken with in a long time. So when you get old, all of a sudden you say, gee, I haven't seen that person in 40 or 50 years. I think I'll call him or call her. Hey, how you been? Let's catch up. Which I can remember my friends talking, what do you do that for? They're, oh, you haven't, said, because we have a history. We know things, but we went through things at the same time. Now I can remember talking with Ronnie and Marcia were older than me, and they would talk politics that I was just on the fringe of about during the end of the First World War. I was born in 1933, right at the beginning of the Depression here. So I would love to hear them talk about those times. So they have a history, and I shared that, and still the old friends I talk to have a history. And the younger people now, they don't want to hear me talk too much. So the other people you can share it with. Plus, I got people like you cornered, so you have to hear what I got to say.
Yeah.
No. You're pretty good, pal. You let me talk and say anything I want to. So did the Max Explosion. Oh boy, I tore him and you in several times, and he just laughed.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he's a good guy.
Yeah.
Except my daughter Jennifer left the room. She didn't want to hear any of that stuff.
What, the Max Explosion stuff?
Yeah. Dad, I'm gone. Check with me later. But she's still sitting there listening to this, so we're okay.
Yeah. But I just looking through your credits here, and I'm going to tell you, like I said, Dressed to Kill, love that movie, but you were in The World According to Garp, with Robin Williams, who we sadly don't have anymore, so you've done some very notable films. So
see, that's what I'm telling you. I've done a few films, and some of them are notable for sure.
Yeah.
But most of my work has been on stage and on television. A whole career of staying afloat with a big family and everything. Plus, like you say, you do janitorial work.
Yeah.
I would be on Broadway, headline at the Latin Quarter where I did burlesque with. And right after we closed, I'd be waiting on tables. I won a big award once for doing a small. I have a Theater World Award. Hey, you won a Theater World Award. And tonight I was saying, may I take your order, please? Because I had to keep people afloat. You have to put money in. I had a bunch of children, to keep going. So it's not you look back on my credits, say, my God, look at all the things he must have been busy all the time. No, that's just I closed in so many shows out of town, flops, in rehearsal kind of things. It looks good on paper, but there was lots of time with no money coming in except what you dig up in other ways. Like I didn't have to do janitorial service, but God bless you. Good luck to you.
Yep.
You do what you have to do.
Yep. Well, my cat won't get a job, so I'm kind of he's over here.
All right. Well, listen, I think we've talked this out, don't you think?
You're not ready to talk this out, huh? Just a second. I'm getting Kitty here.
Talk to you, cat.
He's taking half my bedding off. Kitty, let go my bedding. He tore my bedding off. Kitty, say hello to Santa Claus. Say hello to Brandon.
Greg.
I'm
getting worried. I told Jennifer won't go get Earl. Earl's up front. I said, go get her. She said, no.
Yeah, Kitty says, you're using me for hits.
He can be kind of a Scrooge every once in a while, you know.
Yeah.
What's your cat's name?
Skittles. He's camera shy.
Our cat's name is Earl.
Yeah.
Earl the Pearl. Hey, Greg, come on. She's going to kill me. We've got to get off here sometime.
Well, you know what? We'll close off here. It was wonderful having you come on here and talk about Christmas Evil and Dress to Kill and your books and
yeah. If people want to buy my books, you can always book books by Brandon R. Maggart on Amazon. And there's a bunch of those books.
You get a web page too, right?
Yeah, it's kind of dated. I'm lax about that. I got a web page. Actually, the web page, brandonmaggart.com. You can see some of my paintings, some old clips, and a lot of stuff. It's in some reviews of a book or two or whatever. It's very interesting. If people got nothing to do, go to brandonmaggart.com. And you can look at some of those things. You know, if you're up in Canada, get lonely, got nothing to do, you can just punch on that and check up and see some of my history.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
All right. I wish you the best, Greg. It's nice chatting with you.
Oh, it was nice chatting with you too. You know,
do it again next year if you like.
Sure, we can do that. Before I let you go, you mind doing a plug for my show?
How do I do that?
Just state your name and say you're listening to Greg Gilbert on Python's Paradise.
On Python's Paradise?
Yeah, it's the name of my show. Just say you're Brandon Maggart from Christmas Evil.
Give me the cue.
Go for it.
Hey, everybody out there. I'm with Greg here on his show, and we're talking about Christmas Evil. And Greg is a good guy. He's not scary at all. And although he likes horror pictures, movies and everything like that, he's not scary. He's a good guy, and he's smiling at me right now. So tune in and watch his show. Okay. All right. Happy holidays, everybody.
God bless you. Happy New Year to you, Brendan. And you better go tend your daughter because she might be waiting.
She's going to throw stuff at me any minute now. All right. Bye, Greg.
God bless. Take care.
Say thank you, Jennifer.
Thank you, Jennifer.
No,
thank you, Jennifer. I like that. She says her own
goodbye,
name.
Greg. Say
bye,
goodbye, Greg.
Goodbye, Greg.
Bye, Jennifer.
All right, signing off.
Signing off.